Welcome everyone to GreenStar Co-op's 2021 annual member meeting. Thank you all for taking the time to tune in and for your support of your co-op. I'm Dan Hoffman. I'm a longtime member of GreenStar's board of directors, known since 1982 as the council, and I serve officially as the co-op secretary and unofficially as its historian. First, I am honored to be standing in for my esteemed colleague and friend, Brandon Kane, who at his request is currently on leave from his position as GreenStar's general manager through the rest of this year. In my opinion, our co-op has been very, very fortunate to have Brandon as our general manager. His reputation for skilled leadership is renowned throughout the network of food co-ops in this country. In case anyone doesn't know this already, Brandon is extremely knowledgeable, he's dedicated, creative, and hardworking. Given what we and he have gone through over the past few years, including the complicated path to opening and operating a new and larger store, as well as the unprecedented pandemic that struck just before that opening, I can only imagine how stressful and exhausting it's been for our entire staff and council, but especially for Brandon, who is the single employee held accountable for the success of the entirety of the co-op's operations across 3 stores. I hope Brandon's leave will give him an opportunity for well-deserved rest and recovery, and that he can return refreshed and reinvigorated to steer the co-op through our 51st year. And here is Brandon's report, primarily for 2020, but stretching into 2021 as well. He calls it Navigating the Challenges of 2020. As we navigated myriad challenges in 2020, it became increasingly clear that GreenStar would have to change significantly in order to adapt to the social and economic forces wrought by the COVID-19 pandemic. The financial and logistical limitations we experienced and continue to experience forced us to identify and focus on the fundamental purpose of GreenStar. At the end of the day, if we are not both economically viable and useful to our community, then there is no cooperative. Our answer to the question of our purpose is that GreenStar exists to provide our community with great jobs and high quality, affordable food and goods. It's impossible to encapsulate all the significant aspects of 2020, so I'll use this opportunity to highlight the progress we've made toward our fundamental purpose. From the bottom of my heart, and remember this is Brandon, I cannot praise our staff enough for persevering through this most difficult year. We certainly did all we could to ensure our staff were kept safe while at work. GreenStar was the earliest adapter in our area of many of the sanitation protocols that later became commonplace at all grocery stores. We provided our staff with weeks of additional sick leave as well as hourly bonus pay for the first 9 months of the pandemic before converting to a wage scale that starts at the Tompkins County living wage of $15.37 an hour. The significance of GreenStar's wage scale cannot be overstated. We are the largest living wage employer in Tompkins County, and we are a retail grocery store, which is notoriously a low margin industry. When it comes to paying a living wage, GreenStar is literally dependent on our community putting its money where its mouth is. Paying a living wage in a retail industry known for low wages is not easy. As a matter of fact, it's quite hard because it's expensive. GreenStar's compensation as a percentage of sales is 1.5 times the industry average, making the economics of paying a living wage only work if we take in a proportional amount of revenue or sales. Sales have not come easily throughout much of the pandemic. If someone you know supports the living wage movement, but they don't shop at GreenStar, please encourage them to support their hometown cooperative grocer and other living wage employers. We've established our successful efforts to provide great jobs for our community. How are we doing on our goal to provide high quality, affordable food and goods? In 2020, we expanded our product lines at our Cascadilla Street store to make good on our vision of GreenStar as a one-stop shop for our customers. We also grew our everyday low-price co-op basics lines to include over 1,000 products in practically every category. To help cope with increasing economic hardships of many community members, we added unemployment to our list of qualifiers for our flour program, which provides a 13% discount to eligible members. You'll notice that GreenStar is reporting a net income loss of about $2 million in 2020. A loss of a little over $1 million was originally budgeted for the year for our relocation project. The pandemic caused an additional loss of $1 million, primarily in lower sales growth and significantly higher wages and related staff benefits. When we put word out in December of 2020 that GreenStar was facing financial difficulties, the community responded with an immediate increase in patronage at our stores, helping us to finish out the year with more cash than we anticipated, carrying us through the lean winter months that followed. While we have made strides in improving sales growth and controlling our expenses, GreenStar, like most small businesses, is not yet out of the woods. 90% of every dollar sold is attributable to our cost of goods and compensation expenses. That leaves only 10% of sales to cover all other overhead, which is not adequate to cover all those operating costs. As a result, we have continued to lose cash on a weekly basis throughout 2020 and 21. We've narrowed the gap significantly since the height of the pandemic, but we still have some way to go to reach financial solvency. I encourage you to help spread the word to support GreenStar and all that we represent, which is a different way of doing business. Rather than enriching a small group of elite people, GreenStar uses its economic engine to create over 200 living wage jobs, derives over 25% of its sales from local farms and vendors, and ensures that our community has access to healthy and affordable food. Now that's a concept that I believe everyone can support. Sincerely, Brandon Kane, General Manager. I have another piece in this program, and I'm going to have to step out for just a second, and we will set up for that next piece. Well, there was no phone booth available, but here I am in a slightly different guise. I was told that since I've been around for so long, I could also use my moment here to observe a very special birthday. This year, it's been half a century since our food co-op began. We haven't been able to celebrate properly, for obvious reasons, but this milestone deserves recognition. I'm going to run through a thumbnail history of our co-op, decade by decade. In the time available, I can only touch on some major points. Apologies for all that has to be left out. With a little help from my friend Heidi and a triple chocolate vegan cake
Vegan triple chocolate.
From downstairs, which you could also acquire. We'll mark each decade with a special 10-year candle. There she goes. All right, decade number 1, 1971 to 1980. As some of us remember, personally, the late 1960s and early 70s were a time of political, social, and cultural upheaval, and Ithaca and many other college towns and other places were in the thick of it. There was a new counterculture, primarily young college students and hippies and their fellow travelers who wanted to do things quite differently, including building and controlling our own institutions, guided by progressive values. When it came to food, we wanted more natural products, which were not easily available at that time. We wanted to eliminate what we called the middleman. Probably many of them were men at that point. And we wanted to get the lowest prices. Ithaca already had a food co-op, started in the 1930s and operating the first supermarket in town. That's a whole other story. All I can say is that it was considered way too unhip at that point. So, a bunch of determined young visionaries launched the Ithaca Real Food Co-op in June of 1971. It was strictly a pre-order system. Fresh produce offered every week, less perishable grains every other week. No store, no employees, hardly any overhead or markup, but the lowest prices in town and a real sense of community. Everybody involved was supposed to contribute work. For almost 10 years, all important decisions were made by whoever showed up at meetings. In 1974, 3 years later, grains pre-ordering was replaced by the co-op's first store, which was really just a single room in the basement of the Greater Ithaca Activities Center. Initially open a few nights a week when you could stop by and buy non-perishable foods. and before too long, cheese. This operation moved several times over the next several years and became known as the grain store. Eventually, the store required inventory, capital, and paid employees, which created a divide among co-op members, some of whom strongly preferred the simpler pre-order model. We have high-tech accoutrements here. Thank you, Heidi. Second decade, 1981 to 1990. The division in the Ithaca Real Food Co-op was eventually resolved by a fairly amicable legal separation between the pre-order and store systems, with the pre-order retaining the original name and the grain store incorporating as GreenStar Cooperative Market in 1982. The pre-order system withered away after a few years, but GreenStar continued to grow and evolve, moving from an old warehouse on 5th Street to a former neighborhood grocery store, larger and much more visible at Cayuga and Farm Streets, by way of the legendary 8-block-long human chain made up of enthusiastic members moving most of the store's inventory in the snow. The elected council was established and empowered in conjunction with the right of binding member referenda, and certain exclusive powers of the membership were enshrined in the bylaws. GreenStar began publishing its monthly Greenleaf newsletter, and paid staff organized itself into a management collective with equalized salaries, at least for a while. The product line expanded beyond just bulk goods, accompanied by much lively debate. As I recall, a noble attempt to sell potato chips in bulk ended after about 3 hours. All right, the years are piling up. And we are into the third decade, 1991 to 2000. In 1991, the first member-initiated referendum was held to resolve an extremely important question. Should the co-op be allowed to sell chocolate? It passed. Of the approximately 30 referenda to date, 2/3 have been about product line issues. In the early 1990s, GreenStar planned and hosted 3 very popular regional food co-op conferences. Issues around diversity and expansion moved to the front burner. Apologies for the unfortunate metaphor, but things got way too hot on a bitter January evening in 1992 when the Farm Street store was destroyed by a fire started by a troubled youth. In a few days, 900 members showed up for an emergency meeting, and the co-op vowed to carry on. 5 months later, the membership approved rental of a former Payless supermarket in the West End. It was 4 times the size of our old store. The new store opened in September with many changes. As advised by co-op consultants, council adopted a hierarchical general manager structure, with Art Godin hired as our first GM, and replaced individual employee contracts with a detailed personnel policy. Also, fixed markups were replaced by floating markups set by the general manager. Also, non-members were allowed to shop without any shame, but at a higher price. And the product line continued to expand, and a deli was opened. Within 4 years of opening this new, larger store, the debate over whether the co-op should expand further and how resumed. Okay, we are on to the fourth decade, 2001 to 2010. In 2003, a referendum allowed the sale of meat beyond just pet food for the first time in the co-op's 32-year history. Also, council voted to institute a living wage for the co-op. It was then $8.21 an hour. In 2007, a referendum allowed the sale of beer and hard cider. In 2004, GreenStar purchased the struggling Oasis Natural Grocery at the DeWitt Mall, our first satellite store. GreenStar first rented the former warehouse across Buffalo Street in 2006, then purchased that property in 2010 to house offices, a commissary kitchen, the classroom, and a community meeting space. Between 2005 and 2010 was a very rocky period. GreenStar had 5 different general managers or interim general managers in those years. In 2010, after lengthy debate, Council adopted the sometimes controversial policy governance approach in a form to be defined by Council, although we're still working on that more than a decade later. Also, GreenStar instituted the Flower Program to help low-income members, which became a model for other food co-ops across the country. Okay, we're heading for 50 years. The 5th decade, 2011 until this year. This could be nicknamed the Brandon Kane decade. After serving as interim general manager for a year, he became the general manager in 2011, and he has had the longest GM tenure in our history. In 2016, GreenStar opened its 2nd satellite store on College Avenue in Collegetown after a long process of going through the city's approval steps. In 2017, GreenStar began complicated negotiations for development, rental, and eventual purchase of a new expanded store on Cascadilla Street, where I am right now. Also, on the 3rd attempt, a referendum to replace the 2% member discount with a patronage dividend system was approved. In 2018, the membership approved the opening of the new store, sale of the warehouse property across the street, and issuance of capital stock to members who loan money to the co-op for the new store project. The one member, one vote rule still applies, however. Last year, as the opening of the new store neared, the COVID-19 pandemic began. Nevertheless, the store opened as planned in May on a somewhat subdued note, but as you know, sales have not reached projected levels. We've got one more stage here.
Sprung the 6th candle on me, y'all.
Is there another candle?
Yes, I have
All
it
right,
ready
there
for
we
you.
go.
I just have to find a spot to put it since I wasn't ready.
Oh, can you-
But I'm sure
right
everyone.
in the middle, if you don't burn yourself.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, Dan. You got
I'll
it.
get one
I
out.
got it.
All right, she did it.
Uh-huh. Now I got to get it lit and not burn
Oh,
myself
yes.
away. All right.
Oh, it should have
Uh-huh.
continued.
And
Ooh,
there you go.
all right, and no one was hurt. Here's the epilogue. As you can see, it's been a long, winding road since 1971. In fact, we're already into our 6th decade now, so it's time to light another candle, as Heidi has handily done. Over the past half century, there have been many profound accomplishments of which we owners can be proud, starting with our survival for much longer than most new businesses are able to stick around. There have been many struggles, many people stepping up and helping out, innovation and spirited debate, good times and tough times. But we've never given up, and the light hasn't gone out. Please help us to keep it shining. I'm not going to sing, but happy birthday, number 50, dear Co-op, and long may you run. We will have to get some of these props out of the way, and next up will be Marilyn Chase, GreenStar's president.
Hello. In my annual meeting report last year, I noted that we are living in a moment of change. But change is constant and can be calamitous and bring uncertainty. In a Council News article from August, I wrote that when the COVID-19 arrived more than a year and a half ago, both GreenStar staff and Council collectively believed that we would need to push ourselves against our limits just long enough to establish the new store at 770 Cascadilla, then sprint toward a vaccine distribution at the finish line. In that news piece, I stated that it turned out to be that a pandemic isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. But the pandemic has brought about calamity and uncertainty. We aren't running a sprint or a marathon. We aren't running at all. We're riding a wave of change. But the change is a tsunami, and the change is reshaping humanity. The climate crisis is not only worsening, it's accelerating. The systemic socioeconomic divides in our country are not improving. For these and many other reasons, cooperative enterprise has never been more relevant. From my perspective, food cooperatives are at the center. Here in our local community, GreenStar is not only the largest living wage employer in Tompkins County, our co-op also contributes over $5 million in sales annually to approximately 200 local farmers and producers, more than any other local grocer by far. It is essential for GreenStar to prosper in the future to help ensure our community has access to high-quality, affordable food and goods, and to ensure the alternative economic engine of our beloved co-op continues to contribute to the prosperity of our local community. As we enter the holiday season, amid ongoing supply and distribution challenges, we ask that you are patient while staff continue to adapt and rise to meet these ever-changing daily challenges. We also ask that you spread the word. The co-op needs the continued support of our members. Can't find what you're looking for? Try stopping back a few days later, or maybe use it as an opportunity to try something new. I'm happy to report that change on the council level has not been calamitous. In fact, the pandemic has resulted in a more nimble and a cooperative elective body. After adapting to online meetings and working in the cloud, council meetings have become more efficient as well as more engaging. Agendas now include new business, allowing council members to be more aware of what's coming up for new council work and weigh in on council and committee work. Council meetings also include a communications section dedicated to discussing concerns and asking questions relative to gaps in communication. Council has also greatly improved transparency by cleaning up our policies and organizing our policy book, ensuring it is updated and posted on the GreenStar website on a monthly basis. In the past, it was updated on a quarterly basis at best, and we no longer have a backlog of unapproved council and committee meeting minutes. They are now approved and posted on the website within a month or two at the most. Our meetings have not only become more focused and productive, they are also more accessible to our membership now that they're being held online. We invite you, our member owners, to join us and engage. Meetings are held the second Tuesday of every month at 6:30 p.m. Come early for a conversation with council. From 6 to 6:30, GreenStar council members are invited to join council members for an opportunity to engage in conversation. This 30-minute period is an open mic format and will be recurring, taking place ahead of the GreenStar council meeting. You can find more information, including how to attend on our website at www.greenstar.coop. You are also welcome to email directly at council@greenstar.coop. At its June council meeting, council approved a proposal that directs the co-op to launch a comprehensive review of GreenStar bylaws. Because the bylaws are the key document for governing our organization, it is important for our member owners to be aware of and engaged in this process. While at least 35 amendments have been made to the bylaws over the past 20 years, we have not conducted such a broad-based review for decades, and we are looking for member owners to participate in this process. Council has already begun reviewing the current bylaws and intend to produce a rough draft for membership to consider and provide feedback on later this winter. Council plans to engage membership throughout 2022 via surveys, virtual member forums, and other avenues to gather, review, and incorporate member feedback with the intention of producing a final draft bylaws to be voted on in the fall of 2022. If you would like more information, please send us an email at council@greenstar.coop. Recruitment of new voices continues to be a goal. This year, we have 8 council candidates running for 5 seats, which is an improvement when it comes to the number of candidates. But, as I noted last year, our city, region, and membership is changing, and it's time for council, our board of directors, to reflect those changes. As a co-op member, it's your right to help choose 5 representatives for GreenStar's council, our board of directors. The board represents you and ensures that the co-op adheres to its mission and values. It helps shape the direction of our co-op. Voting ends October the 30th. To vote online, you must access your emailed ballot. Ballots were sent out on October the 1st, and reminder emails were sent out October the 8th. If you haven't done so already, please check your inbox and submit your vote. Thank you for joining us this evening and for reviewing our annual reports at a later time. Please continue to shop the co-op. Everything we do is for the benefit of our community, and we are stronger together. I'd like to introduce Laura Buttenbaum.
Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, Dan, for that lovely history of our co-op. Hi, I'm Laura, staff member on your member owner services team and also current council member. I'm here to share with you some news about a project we've been working on operationally that I think you are going to be excited about. We've been working on this for quite some time, and I think you're going to be excited about it too. A little backstory, as a member-owned co-op, we need to maintain a database of our members, their contact information, their equity, discounts, patronage of the co-op. And while the membership database that GreenStar has used for the past number of years, which is essentially the back end of our register system, meets this minimum requirement, it wasn't built to handle the multiple needs of a co-op with such a dynamic membership base, excuse me. With good processes and some creativity, we made it work for as long as feasible, but we recognized that the limitations of that system were beginning to impede our work, holding us back from being able to provide better service to our members, pulling staff time away from other co-op priorities that require a more human touch, and from offering our members a more direct agency over their co-op membership. A few years ago, we were approached by Weaver's Way Co-op, located in Philadelphia, about the point of sale system that we use. They were considering switching to the POS system that we use and were curious to see it in action. And in the spirit of cooperation, in honor of the 6th cooperative principle, cooperation among cooperatives, which is probably just off your screen, we invited them up to GreenStar to see the system in action, meet with some of our managers, and learn how our finance, IT, and membership departments all interact with that system. Through various conversations that happened while they were visiting, we learned that Weaver's Way, equally frustrated by a lack of a member database designed to meet the unique needs of a cooperative enterprise, had developed their own independent membership database that runs parallel to and is integrated with their POS system. Needless to say, our interest was piqued. In time, Weaver's Way did eventually and successfully transition to that new POS system, the same one that we use. And at that point, GreenStar entered into serious conversation with Weaver's Way to explore the possibility of adapting their membership database to meet our co-op's specific and unique needs. And when it was determined that the project would be mutually beneficial for both co-ops, GreenStar entered into an agreement with Weaver's Way to design, develop, and implement a new membership database for GreenStar. A team of staff from your marketing and membership, IT, and finance departments have been meeting regularly over the past few years with a team from Weaver's Way to create an improved, functional, and robust membership database for GreenStar. I am pleased to share with you that your member owner services team finally began operating almost exclusively through this new database called Co-op Crossings, beginning in June of this year. Additionally, your customer service desk staff has been able to use administrative functions of the database to verify member owner contact information, discount, equity, and to communicate questions and requests on behalf of member owners directly to your member owner services team, all paper-free. In August, we transitioned to using the database to send various emails to our flower members to remind them when it's time to requalify for flower. In September, we rolled out changes to the registers that are integrated with the functionality of the new membership database. These changes were designed to make it easier for register staff to share essential information with our members, like when your barcode is ready to be picked up, or if it's time to reapply for the flower program, or if your equity payment is due. We're also able to create notes that pop up at the register if there's information that we need from a member, such as an updated phone number or email address. Perhaps we tried to call you or email you to let you know that your special order is in, or that we found your lost item, but the phone number we have on file is no longer in service, or the email bounced. All of these functions that the membership database provides have increased our ability to provide consistent and efficient service to our member owners. The next functional piece of the database that we're getting ready to roll out is perhaps the most exciting. We're still working out the details and smoothing the edges, but in November of this year, next month, we plan to launch our online member center. The online member center will give you, our fellow cooperators, secure online access to your member record. It will be your one-stop hub for all things related to your GreenStar membership. So what does the online member center mean for you? Well, for years, we've heard from our members that they wish we could send a letter or call them when it's time to make an equity payment. We just have not had the logistical or human capacity to do that, but the membership database does. Once the online member center is live, those of you who are on an annual equity payment installment plan will receive email notifications when it's time to make an equity payment, and you'll be able to make those payments securely online if you choose. You can choose to make a standard equity payment, or you could pay off your entire equity balance, or make any number of payments in between. Through the online member center, you'll be able to review your transactions, update your contact information, and stay up to date on GreenStar's governance. Another important feature that we're really looking forward to is EasyPay. EasyPay is a prepaid account program for GreenStar members that works like a gift card, but you don't need a physical card. Why EasyPay? It'll help keep more money in our community. Do you know that 90% of the transactions at the register involve debit and credit cards? GreenStar pays 2 to 4% of the transaction total to the bank for each swipe. In 2020, this amounted to GreenStar paying over $350,000 in credit and debit card fees alone. That is a significant cost to the co-op just to provide the ability for customers to pay with a card. EasyPay is one more way that we can work cooperatively to reduce economic leakage from our co-op and our community. Every dime the co-op spends on credit card fees flows out of the co-op and straight into the hands of big banks and credit card companies. By using EasyPay, you can help significantly reduce those fees and help stem the co-op's cash loss. Once it's launched, EasyPay will help keep more money in our co-op, in our local community, and provide a wallet-free purchase experience at the register. Pretty awesome. So how will it work? Members will first need to create an EasyPay PIN through the online member center, and then they'll be able to deposit money into their EasyPay account. Once there's money in their EasyPay account, members can make purchases using those prepaid funds at any register. Initially, you'll be able to put money into your EasyPay account with cash, check, credit, or debit card at the customer service desk or online through Co-op Crossings. Again, EasyPay will be PIN protected, so members will need to know their PIN in order to use EasyPay as a form of tender at the register. More information about EasyPay will be shared once it's launched. So what's next? The most important step you can take right now to ensure that you can access the online member center when it launches is to make sure that your equity payments are up to date and that we have a current email address on file for you. You can verify your email address at any register at any time. When the online member center is ready to launch and EasyPay becomes available, we'll send out emails to all of our member owners that includes a link to the online member center, a unique username, and a password. In the meantime, we will continue to finalize the member owner side of the database, continuing with testing, and keep you informed of the status of the project. I hope you are as excited as we are about the promise of this new membership database, both for its functionality for your co-op staff and the increased access it gives to you over your GreenStar membership. There is so much potential in how we can use this database to meet the needs of our growing community as we consider what it will take to be a viable, vital, and vigorous co-op for our community for the next 50 years. Back to you.
Okay. I'm sorry. I want to, are we going to project it now? No. I just want to introduce a video was produced by the Flock Finger Lakes group. I actually don't have anything to refer to.
There was something printed out, but it seems usually forgot, and it's
Okay, I guess I don't have what I thought I was,
That's all
okay.
right. So I'm just gonna pop in too. Hi. So it's all right.
Thank you.
I'm Heidi, I'm the board administrator, and I'm just remembering that there is a video. It's already posted to our website. It's done by Flock Finger Lakes, and it's just a beautiful piece on GreenStar in the history. It features Dan, as well as some of our producers. So I encourage you to check it out. I'm gonna pop it into the live chat right now. So folks who are watching will be able to just click it and check it out. It'll also be right there for you if you happen to be watching this later. So thanks, Marilyn. No
Well,
worries.
thank you. I wanted to tell you, I have seen the video and it's really worth watching. So, thank you. I'm learning. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
You can just close it out. Thanks everybody for joining.